Jill, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Welcome. Are you from Zambia?
Yes, you guessed by the surname.
Yeah, I gave a talk in Zambia and I recognized your surname. And then I saw one of the people, I can't remember his name now. I saw one of the people that on your amongst your friends. I always stalk everybody that joins my things to see who they are and what they do.
Yeah.
So welcome. But Zambia was wonderful. Oh, they're what friendly people. They're incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, I had a great time with the Department of Tourism. All right, unlocking after lockdown. And it just decides to stop share. Closed for repairs. I think we've actually been sent to our rooms like naughty children to go and think about what we're doing and coming out and doing it better. So the topics I'm going to try and cover today in 30 minutes are why we're here, what we need, what you need. I need to know what you need, and then we can amend what we do. Who we are, it's important that you know who I am, what I do, and what we can offer, because it's actually much more than people realize. How we're going to unlock. So what I did there was I just went onto Google and I looked at all the big companies and I saw the advice they're giving specifically for going out of lockdown and opening up again after post-COVID. And then a motivation at the end of what we can do together. So why are we here? The job loss is absolutely terrible in the trade industry, construction, manufacturing, mining, and tourism is just a nightmare. The wine farms are closing. It's just awful. I hope all of you have joined us on the 5th of September. We have got to have change, and it's completely no religions, no racism, no gender, nothing. It's just a whole bunch of people getting together and demanding change. So where are we going? In good times, people want to advertise. In bad times, they have to advertise. One of my ex-husbands, I've had 3. Oh, I love them all. I would marry them all again. One of them was in advertising, and he always used to say, when things are bad, you advertise more. Tough times never last, but tough people do. And stopping advertise to save money is like stopping a watch to save time. Doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing, but nobody else does. Why advertise in bad times? People want to see an image of stability. The cost will drop. Don't lose share of mind. You must stay in people's minds. Let them remember you. Increase the share of the market. Safeguard current and future sales. Look after the people. You don't know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks or a couple of months' time. And buyers have time. This is what we've noticed on the website. People are playing on the website. They've got time to look. Doesn't want to forward the slides. Here's an example. McDonald's, when they had during the big recession, they dropped their advertising. Pizza Hut and Taco Bell didn't. Pizza Hut went down by 60%. Taco Bell went down by 40%. McDonald's lost business by 28%. So the reasons to advertise in bad times. People will easily forget you if they can't see you. Because bad times mean good opportunities. Maybe a competitor has retreated and that's your time to move in. Because repetition works. Believe me, I mean, when I used to do procurement, I used to get so fed up with the people that would nag me and be in my office all the time. But I tell you what, it actually works. Because confidence matters. People need to feel secure. They need to feel that you're okay if they're going to do business with you again. Because you're not under the hood. Consumers research more during difficult economic times. Because tough times make tough customers. We offer long-term benefits. Stop worrying about short-term gain. Think ahead and rather do without a little at the moment. Because customers love to jump on a deal. They love a good bargain. And because you have more advertising choice than ever. And you can now really shop around for less expensive options. So what we need, I think you know, I was going to do a poll. Let's do the poll quickly just for fun. Do you know how to do a poll? Let's just do it quickly. What do you do? What is worrying you the most? Too few sales, supply chain disruption, competitors moving into your territory, or changing tastes, where people are wanting different products now? That is so interesting. Look at that, changing tastes.
Mm.
That is fascinating. Thanks, guys. Can you see that?
Mm.
There, you should see it now. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Cool.
What's
Okay.
up?
God, I can't get these slides to advance. So who are we? This is who we are. It's important that you know our history and why Hotelstuff exists and why we're such an incredible success. It was supposed to be a hobby when I left Southern Sun, because I'm supposed to be playing bingo and knitting baby booties, but I've never been busier in my life. It's a complete accident. So I grew up on a very ordinary farm. This is our story, near Fachel, where we had a long drop. Nobody ever drowned in it because we fixed it. And we had no electricity. We didn't even have running water, and we'd never seen plastic. So that is how I grew up, with the basics, learning how to live with the very simplest natural things. Then after matric, I did my gap year, went to London, ended up in Canada, ended up in Los Angeles, right in the middle of the hippie era in 1969, and got a job with the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm giving my age away. And we marched for everything. We marched for Vietnam, women's rights, civil rights. 2 people got shot at Kent State University, marching for civil rights and the environment. And of course, we lived in communes and we grew the most amazing herbs, which we inhaled. I had to teach my kids, teach my children how to smoke weed. So came back to South Africa, and the universe does weird things to you. I'm a teacher by profession, and I hate the corporate world. And I ended up doing all the procurement and all the contracts for 82 hotels for the Southern Sun Hotel Group. So having worked with the Greenies in California, I made it my mission to turn every product that I had in my purchasing manual to find a greener version of every single product. Nobody knew what I was talking about. This is over 30 years ago. Our first big development was the convention center, which was our first green development. And it was such early days. People hardly knew what we were doing. So I implemented a recycling program myself with a chap that was retrenched from Telkom. And we collected the waste in all the Santon hotels, got people off the street every morning to sort it for us. He just did it as a volunteer. And it was incredible. We saved Santon Sun and Santon Interconti 75,000 in a month. They didn't even realize they were collecting the waste from Santon City. And that woman at the bottom ended up managing a whole warehouse with paper baling. So I sent my report upstairs to show them how much money we'd save. I had photographs, I had graphs, I had interviews, beautifully done report, and nobody took a blind bit of notice. Because when you're short, and I used to be blonde and middle-aged, you might as well have a bag over your head in the boardroom, and I think it's still like that. So I actually left in a huff, and that huff, that anger, that frustration, I'm 77 now, that frustration gives me the energy to do what I do. I pull on that every day rather than do negative things. I put it into my work. So I changed my attitude. I tried to gird my loins like the Bible says, but a girl can't do that. Put on my big panties and I left. And I moved to Cape Town to start a new life. I remarried. Girls, listen to me. Don't remarry in your 60s because that's the rest of your life. I had to get out of it because it was no life. I came back. And you know what? The hotel started calling me back. This was the irony, saying, what are you talking about, green, green, green? I'd say, you know, I've been trying to tell you, let me just let Adam in. I've been trying to tell you for 15 years how easy it is to go green. And then I'm a teacher, so I would teach. And I realized these were hoteliers. They were not financial people, engineers or whatever. So I realized they had to see, touch and feel what I spoke about. So in a moment of madness, my bookkeeper and I decided to build a hotel at Hostex, 100 square meters, and furnish it only with eco-friendly products. So I already had an online directory, just like a Yellow Pages that my son had developed from our purchasing manual. So all the supplies from Southern Sun Hotels were there. And it was a way to share with the rest of the hospitality world, with the lodges and the bed and breakfast and the other big hotel chains. And then Al Gore's movie came out, The Inconvenient Truth. And I thought, you know what, they're going to understand what I'm talking about. So I developed a second website that backs onto hotel stuff, and it only identifies eco-friendly products. Nothing is 100% green. And I mean, it gets 33,000 people use it every month now, 33,000 buyers. I mean, I can't actually believe it. And it just got its own energy. We hardly ever push it. And these are some of the shows that we did. Every single product in every one of these exhibitions was eco-friendly and all taken. We don't sell anything. We don't take commission on anything. Honestly, it's like a Yellow Pages. We just said to everybody, just send us some stuff. We'll display it for you for a small fee. And we won awards for every single one. We've just won our 20th award for, I still don't know why, some engineers in America found me, and I've just won my 20th. I wish I could fly there to go and get it. So consulting, ended up consulting. If anyone ever goes to Cape Town, go to Hotel Verde. It's one of the greenest hotels in the entire world. They've even got geothermal. Go there and ask for a tour. Don't just ask them to take you around. Totally fascinating. So I consult on all these hotels and then obviously promote all the products in the manual. And then I was chief judge for 2 years for the Lizella Awards, which were the environmental ones fallen away because it got so dated. And I think they fired the girl that was working with it. So I hope it comes back because it was a lot of fun. Now, during the lockdown, this is what I'm trying to tell you here. During the lockdown, this is what happened. We were very, very surprised. We were wondering what the buyers were searching for. You know, hotel stuff was originally for hospitality, but it's 20 years old now. It's used by everybody now. Every sector imaginable uses it as a directory or as a phone book, actually. And these were the people that used it a lot during lockdown. Obviously, hospitals and clinics, prisons, hostels, government, municipality uses us, homeowners, schools, offices, developers, the hotels that were accommodating the medics, restaurants, the mines use us, caterers, and obviously the ordinary people life didn't stop. People still needed to get things. Just hospitality was very, very badly hit. And obviously the products in most demand were what you would expect them to be. I put exhibition paneling in there because Adam makes the most beautiful paneling. So the way we measure this, when people say, how do you know? They come to us and they say, oh, we've had no calls from hotel stuff. We have the back end of our website. We can actually see all the companies are on the left here, and then we can see how many people have looked at that page. They've had to click a few times to get through to that page, and we can give you an average. So, for example, WL Cole, 343 page views a month. That's 343 times a buyer has gone there to get his number, look at his website, or place an order. And then we go right down to all the thousands of people on the website. And then the other way, we don't ask people to register. That's why we don't know who uses it. So most people go onto the website, find a supplier, and phone or email them direct, unless they use the help desk. Some people are too lazy, and some people don't know how to use the directory. And from this, the help desk, we can get an idea of who uses it, and it's everybody. All the big hotel chains, all the boutiques, all the safari lodges, and restaurants, and homeowners, and shops. So please, this is terribly important. Remember this. 90% of the people click onto the website, click through until they get to your page, and then they phone you or email you or go onto your website. Only 1% come to our help desk. So if we ever forward a lead to you, it's 1% of the people that have come to the help desk. 99% of them have gone direct. And they always say, oh, we check. We always ask where people get our details. So we check. And I tell you, they lie. We've yet to find somebody who says, where did you find my phone number? This is how they have to do. They go onto the website, look for the department, look for a category, look for the product, find the supplier list, select one of the suppliers, go onto your company page, get onto your contact details, and contact you. So they actually clicked 7 times to find you. So this is how it works. There's all the main categories. They're broken up like my purchasing manual used to be. You can buy a banner. I'll talk about that later on. We've just created a special category, by the way, for the virus, because there were so many. It was such a busy thing, and pulled some people onto that. So let's pretend we're looking for conference and event stuff. So we click onto that. Then it gives us all the kind of products that you would use at a conference. And then you think, what are these products I'm looking for? Let's pretend we're looking for planters. Here's a list of people that do planters for conferences. And now we'll choose one of those. We'll choose Crossed. It puts us onto his page, tells us about him, shows us some pictures. Then we click across to the side. Now, if he's paid up, you go straight to his phone number, his cell phone number, straight to his website, or you can send him an email direct. We don't even know. If he isn't paid up, it asks you to send an email which comes through to Tanya, to my little technical girl who lives on the farm. And then she will decide whether to forward it to you or to your competitors or to ignore it. And this is green stuff, very similar, slightly different categories, and just only eco-friendly. The greenest we can find. Nothing is 100% green, and someone has to do something. We could wait for certification and people to get star ratings until we did. We just found the greenest that we can. And this is our team. Lots of you will have known Dorothy. She died of cancer recently, and Sue, who we love to death, who's now working on her own. And this is who is managing it now. Karina on the right, then Bill, who's Dorothy's husband. He's a retired engineer. Tanya, who's my whiz kid, technical, little expert, wonderful fairy who's stuck in the wilderness. And then this is the database for the newsletter. 24,000 people have opted in to follow us. I feel like I'm talking about somebody else. So it's people from every possible sector, not only green and not only hospitality. And I hope you guys get the newsletter. Do you just wave at me if you do? Don't you get, yeah, do you, Jill? Lorraine, don't you get our newsletter? Mike?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's not bad. Mike, you want to say something?
I did wave. No, I thought you said I must wave. So
yes,
I waved. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I did used to get it, but I don't know. Somehow I don't. I don't know if it goes into my junk mail, but anyway, I'll have a look at it afterwards and see.
I think it might be too big. We might need a more sophisticated mailing service. And then what happened to all of this? Eskom adopted us. You see, this is what happens. Suddenly, Eskom is at my house, 6 of them in my dining room, asking me to run workshops for them around the country, 14 workshops. And this, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a speaker, because I'm a teacher. I just thought people would go and teach. Anyway, so we started running some fantastic workshops around the country, around the world. Actually, I've been to Singapore, Italy, Bangladesh, India, Denmark, and Zambia. It's just amazing what's happening. So that's why we're here now. How are we going to unlock? We're going to steal advice from other people. These are the trends. Less is more. I've got mascara that ran out in January. I thought. I've used it every day since January, and there's still enough in there. It shows you people are slowing it down. They're changing their values. They're becoming more agile. I hope to God there's a new kind of capitalism, much movement in digital transformation, more altruism. People are really thinking of being kinder, and thank goodness for the work that I do, much more climate awareness. The lifestyle, less physical connection. This is where you must look for gaps. Whatever your product is, keep watching these trends here and see if there's something that you could make that could fill a gap. Telemedicine, diagnosing by phone, also soon by robot, and big pharma's been exposed, and much more collaboration between people. So these were the tips that I summarized, that I found all the major companies. Your employees, your actions, bring back those that you can, even if it's at half pay or half time. Allow flexible working hours. Tell your customers what you're doing, because your customers have built up relationships with your employers, and they would love to know. And it's also a good communication and a caring sort of thing that's developed with this virus. And then get to know your employees' challenges. Find out exactly what they're afraid of and what is really difficult for them and see if you can meet them halfway. Your customers, tell them when and how you're going to open. Tell them what your protocols are and how they can support you. Ask about their challenges and see if you can make their life easier. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Take a course on social media. Get your website updated. Put notices on your email signature and then use Hotelstuff. That's what we're here for, to help you communicate. Your suppliers, tell them when you're reopening, any new measures you've adopted, any product changes you're making so that they can change where necessary. Their challenges, are they available? Ask about their shortages or delays that they have so you can be ready, and where can you support or assist, and tell them to come to my workshops. Supply chain resilience. This is desperately important. It's what I do. Lots of my speaking is in procurement and supply chain management. These are the vulnerable areas. Look at poor old South Africa. It's as bad as America. We import too much stuff. That's what's got to change. We've got to start making it locally, even if it costs more. A, it's job creation, and B, we won't run out of things because our supply chains are just down. They must be visible. Your supply chain must be visible. You must know exactly what's going on the whole way through to the source. Digitize the records to be resilient in the future shock. This is new for us. We're running behind. Use blockchain. I've just researched blockchain. It's the only thing that's going to work. And this year, I think this was Forbes. Don't wait. Know your production and shipment schedules beyond tier 1. Your tier 1 suppliers are the ones that you know and you order from immediately. You need to know who they've ordered from, and you need to know who they've ordered from, right through to pulling the plants out of the ground or chopping down the tree in the Amazon. Develop routes to alternate suppliers just in case, because Fiat had to close down when it couldn't get its parts from China. Move from paper to digitization. No more paper. Your bills of lading, your notices, your packing lists, all of them, your e-signatures must be digitized. Ensure privacy. The problem is your suppliers fear losing commercial advantage if it's made public, because then the competitors will see how they do it and maybe steal some of their ideas. They need to control, and they need to feel in control. Decentralized system gives the supplier privacy and the buyers visibility, and the solution is blockchain, because blockchain is totally secure, very efficient, and inexpensive. It will save you money and eventually pay for itself. Go and research it. My son is a physicist, and he explained it to me in layman's terms last night, and it's the way to go. If we're going to stay in control and feel in control, give the suppliers incentives to share their data. I'm telling you, it's very, very hard, especially if you're aware of greening and climate change and all these things. You have got to know where your products come from. Pay the suppliers for the data if you need to. Buyers can use payment as an alternative to letters of credit. They can pay you later, reduce costs, and prevent supplier bankruptcy. And they can recognize the revenue sooner and replace current supply chain finance with lower financing terms. So data sharing will eventually pay for itself. It started with Bitcoin. It's really a wonderful story if you go into the whole history of all of it. And start early. Don't assume that the current disruptions will never happen again. Be prepared to deal with future shock. So a contingency plan, I can't remember who this came from. They said, hedge your risks and allocate your budget. This is the new thinking. I'm not going to do an MBA course here for you. This is how people are thinking because things are changing. So you hedge your time and your budget to 50, 30, 20. 50% of time and money spent on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on experiments. We've got to be brave. And then Hotelstuff. This is where we can help you with your experiments. We can run polls for you. We can trial some new products for you. We can put some out and ask for feedback on something that you want to see, if it's going to work or if it's not. And then I promised you some comments from China, because when they opened up quite quickly. They were amazed at the increased demand for goods, because they didn't realize how much People have been holding back. So they're saying to us, the advice to us is don't limit your manufacturing during lockdown. Single sales channels didn't work. Introduce new sales channels. So what they're suggesting is use people like us who are online, and people like Jill, use the local radio station. People don't think of that. They're very powerful, and people, your buyers are listening to that. Start online marketing, work and continue working on your leads. Don't give up. Stay friends, stay in touch, ask them how they are. And then supply chain, consider alternatives for yourself, for your supply chain, and also for the people who supply you. Then think inside the box. You know, Faith Popcorn wrote a book called, I forget what the book was called, about the future. And she said we're going to all start cocooning. Well, this virus has made us cocoon. People are thinking inside the box. Look for gaps. There are gaps everywhere. Go through my website, have a look at Greenstuff, just page through Greenstuff and see if there's something there, hey, and you say, hey, I can do that. Things like this. There's such clear ideas. I mean, I've got thousands. Logos, every conference, you know, have advertising on the masks for the people at the conference. So the motivation to go together. If we work together, it's the only way any of us are going to survive, if we actually do things together. This is the way we used to do things together. This is how we do things together now. I mean, we're getting used to it. And it's a whole new way of dealing and thinking and communicating. And it was hard in the beginning, but already becoming second nature. So what Hotelstuff is going to offer you, this is what you must take away with you. Look what appeals to you. And then Tanya, I wish Tanya was here, but we're recording this. She'll watch the recording, and see what we can do for you and how we can help you. The subscription fee is actually 7,000 Rand a year for big guys, for companies that can afford it. Me, Legang, now people like that, WL Cole, right down to nothing. Lots of people on free of charge. We've got a little lady down in Grayson who makes mosquito nets with a little hand machine, beautiful nets. So I said to her, I love this, you must come onto my website. What is your cell phone? No, ma'am. She says, I don't have a cell phone. So I said, have you got an email? No, ma'am, I don't have electricity. She says, but there's a lady at Rotary who helps me sometimes. So I said, you know what, I'm going to put my number, because obviously I don't put my number on the website. My phone would ring me to death. So I put my phone number on. You know who phoned for her mosquito nets? Sir Richard Branson. Now, isn't that an incredible story? He's very green. His lodges are very green, and his whole team come to my workshops. So Tanya's going to offer you a very good discount on that, on a sliding scale, right from nothing through to 7,000 Rand a month, or a monthly debit order. I prefer debit orders because it's a predictable income for me. And then it's usually for 12 months, but people are battling at the moment, so she's going to offer you a 6-month subscription. Exclusive mail shots at a 50% discount. They are very, very effective because they've been going out for 25 years. So our newsletter is known. People don't, what do you call it, when you get off it. And actually read it. So that's very powerful. And that goes exclusively to our database or to the section of the database that would be interested in your product. The homepage banners, there's that big one that I showed you, and then the 4 little ones at the bottom. She's giving a 50% discount on those. People also notice those. Everybody's sales go up when they take a banner. And use a special mention in our newsletter, which happens anyway, but we're going to be sending out more newsletters. We haven't been good enough on social media. We are there, but we should be much more active. So we'll be pushing our social media, LinkedIn, and I don't know, I don't like Instagram. My kids love it, but definitely Facebook. And then if we have an exhibition, you have first refusal. When we invite suppliers to display their products at our big exhibitions, we give you first option. So the future we choose. There's a book that's just come out by Naomi Klein, who speaks on climate change. We have to choose our future because governments aren't choosing it for us, and companies and capitalism is not choosing it for us. It is up to us. The best way to predict your future is to create it. So what worries you the most? these things. Another virus. This is a whole workshop. That's why I've put 4 slides onto one slide here just to show you. Artificial intelligence. Forbes predicts contactless transport, obviously. Payments. Outbreak tracing, much more efficient. Vaccine testing by robots, not by human beings. Less doctor visits. And artificial intelligence will assist with the diagnosis. This was forced on us during lockdown, and it's going to become the norm. And then climate change. Climate Change 101 is a workshop in its own, and then the causes and the impacts, and most important of all is how to prepare and adapt. These are my talks in Africa to the tourism industry because they are fast asleep. They don't realize that animals and plants are moving 14 feet every day away from the equator. That's been proven. They're getting away from the heat. So all the fences, they're going to have to start moving fences. All the forests stop growing on the hot side, and new plants are only coming up on the cool side of the forest. And we're going to have to change the food. We're going to have to eat things like millet and sorghum, and we won't have maize. We probably won't have wheat within the next decade or two. And obviously how we use water and how we look after the soil. And then the other thing that I speak about is ecocide, how we are slowly killing the planet by just taking, using, and throwing away, taking, using, and throwing away. So these are workshops that I offer, and my style is not like I'm presenting to you. My style is very light-hearted with good pictures, lots of humor, some dirty jokes, and it just keeps people on their toes, and they go away motivated to make a change. The workshops, the main ones would be life cycle assessment of every product. I hope you do that with all your products. And if you don't, just buy me a cup of coffee and I'll sit with you and I'll show you how easy it is to know exactly what's in your product and how to make a better choice next time. So you look at where it comes from, how it's moved around, how it's manufactured, how it's packaged, what happens when you use it, and most important, what happens when you're finished using it. How do you get rid of it? And then there's this whole new movement called the circular economy. I've just done a four-day workshop on that, where we're trying to keep everything. Just don't believe anything you ever hear from Coca-Cola and people like it. They're talking absolute bullshit. It's all greenwashing and window dressing. What they're trying to do, what they say they're doing, is keeping that plastic in the circuit. They will never do it. They've just opened a mega plastic factory in Tanzania and closed their glass factory. They have no intention of cutting back. So the circular economy is about keeping a product, when you're finished with your fridge, you send it back and they melt down those metals and they use it again and they use the compressor again, and hopefully they'll do that with cell phones soon. And it's much easier than it sounds. And instead of saying sustainability, we call it regenerative systems now, where the old way used to be wrecking stuff, spoiling stuff, ruining forests, wrecking the soil. Now you do things, so like with farming, where that farm will look pretty much the same after 60 years as it did when you started farming there. The future will be confusing, no doubt about that. So call me and we'll go through those things with you with these workshops and help you make decisions, help your staff understand why. The good news when I speak for tourism, because a lot of us are very involved in tourism, is we've got a weak rand, low deaths. It's seen as a safe destination for the virus. Rock bottom oil prices, rapid testing, Ebola experience, world-class infrastructure, and people are craving wide open spaces, and we have those. So remember what we offer. Have a look at all these things, the subscriptions, the banners, the 6-month option, the newsletter. Let us send out a mail shot for you. And then I'm hoping to do an exhibition. We had 2 cancelled during lockdown. I was really upset about that. So you have a choice. Every time you make a decision and every time you do something, you can do it the old way. And nothing is 100% right or 100% wrong. It's just a better way. We can carry on exactly as we are now, just choose the better way, because the children are watching us. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Louie. Yeah.
So now just put in the chat box if you want to refresh your subscription, or if you want Tanya to get in touch with you, or if you want a mail shot, give us a shout and we'll come back to you and just get you on the road again. And I think we're going to open up sooner than we think. We have to. I think the economy is so bad that they're going to actually bend some of the rules to try and get us to survive. Questions, discussions, advice.
Lorraine, when are you coming to Cape Town?
When you pay for me, I'm so broke, it's not even funny.
Yeah. You know, yeah, we were affected quite badly initially with the lockdown because we were in pest control and hygiene.
Yes.
And the green factor didn't come to the table at all. It was only when the school started getting ready to go back that we had an opportunity there to really introduce the disinfecting and the sanitizing, etc. But then we had trouble with suppliers and the products.
You see.
And you know, being a green company and the directives from the Department of Health saying, guys, you need to use 70% alcohol-based products, just put us on the back burner. So even, you know, having said all that, we did really take a bad beating. But I think things are looking up going forward. Restaurants are starting to open now, and hotels are starting to open. It's just, you know, to get that mindset to change from the more conventional way of doing pest control and hygiene to the green way is a huge, huge challenge. And guys, with regards to the green stuff in the hotels, it's that's, I think, where the
drive us mad. You know, they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They'll say, like an enzyme cleaner, for example, they say it takes too long. They don't. That enzyme's not going to kill the bacteria. The enzyme's going to kill the food the bacteria feeds on.
Yes.
So you actually got to be patient and just give it time. And then, yeah. But Alan, you know, you must let us push you. I mean, I still buddy with lots of people in the Southern Sun hotels. And
this is going to be, you know, I just read something yesterday or this morning. They're paying off 3,500 people.
I know.
You know, and that's
what I want to say to you is that they're willing to experiment for you.
Yeah,
if
that's
you want to
the
do
one point I actually specifically made note of. Yeah, absolutely, definitely going to be running with trials and that sort of thing. You know, experiment with the new products, etc. COVID has taught us a lot, and it's like you said, we're thinking in the box, not out the box anymore. But yeah, we've had a bad run, but we're positive to look at it come summer. Definitely, we're gonna definitely take the industry by storm now.
And Lorraine, you must have been hit, hey, with your chocolates.
Hugely. Yeah. I mean, most of our business was the hospitality industry. So, but we, this week, you know, we've already seen a lot of our hotels are coming back and asking for stock. So we are hopeful that it's going to improve. And I have to say, August was actually, considering where we've come from, August is actually quite a good month. So lots of new inquiries, lots of new things happening. So yeah, we're quite positive at the moment, which is great.
And Christmas is coming too, you know.
Yes, exactly.
And Megan, your amenities, how are you doing?
Hi, Lorraine. Hi. Lockdown obviously was dead quiet, but we're starting to feel that we're picking up again, very slowly. But yeah, orders are starting to trickle in again, which is really positive.
Yeah. And Jill, what do you do? I try to search on LinkedIn, drapery and soft. So what do you do?
I haven't started yet. I've been thinking about it for almost 2 years. It's a bad thing. I think COVID is the reason why I decided I need to get serious about it. I did want to supply lotions, but I didn't start. That was 2 years ago. So I'm thinking now I need to get up and running.
Yeah, you must get us a list of the hotels in Zambia. I mean, we've got some, but just get a list from the Department of Tourism or something. I just keep forgetting. so we can
Okay.
get them onto our newsletter database, because Africa's got to buy from Africa. I go and stay in Kenya and all the amenities come from Italy, for God's sake. It's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
know the export and import taxes are very complicated, and that's also
Yeah, for Zambia, it's very complicated.
very complicated. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a pity. It must change. And Jeffrey, you do minibars. Are you still doing minibars?
We've closed that up long ago. But I must tell you, the one thing I have learned, and I think it's a very interesting thing that I've learned over the COVID time, and I've been spending a lot of time. I spend maybe the other way around. I spend 50% experimentation and listening to what people say and listening to what's going on. But what we found, we're in the finance industry in Zambia, as it happens. We're based out of Lusaka, and what we found is everyone tells you during this lockdown period to go online and do things online. But online is so noisy. You're never going to come to your customer. It's going to be an immense ask to get to your customer. And we thought, we thought about how do we get to our customer? And by rethinking, we went back to some very basic type of strategies. You've got, during the recession or any recession, you've got to market like crazy. You've got to market 10 times more than normal. And we found that we can hit a better hit rate by doing something out of the box and thinking something simple. And we did. We started giving out brochures in Zambia, and it's been an absolute success. I mean, 10 times what we could have imagined.
That is very, very, very interesting, because I believe, and there's some people who agree with me, that I'm Aquarian girls. Aquarians always know 10 years ahead what's going to happen. I think we've gone so technology mad. I can see already in my circles of the greenies, a backlash. And also, lockdown has taught us to go back to the old way of doing things, making bread, cooking homemade stews. People are starting to think simply again and do things the way that they used to be done. So I think they're going to be these two paths, and we'll all find each other. Those that want to do things the old way, the slow way, and those that want to go 100 miles an hour.
I think we've got to just think. People got to think before they run off and do things. I mean, if you go online, they'll tell you. You see all these gurus about e-commerce. They've got thousands of gurus of e-commerce. But if you actually do it, and you actually go and see what kind of results you get, it's pretty pathetic, because then everyone's doing it. But if you go and do simple things, your hit rate is so much greater. And that's what we found. And it happens in many things. It just, I think people have got to slow down and think before they do things.
Mike, did you try any online with your products? I mean, you have a pretty wide reach. Mike's very, very widely spread in the hospitality.
Yeah, I had a guy that was doing marketing, and he found another job during lockdown, which is unusual. But then we carried on with my niece. We post almost every day on Facebook. We update our website every week, and we found maybe what Jeffrey was saying, that I think a lot of people are just getting bombarded with all of this electronic stuff, and eventually, I mean, I get it as well. I mean, you just go delete, until there's something that really catches your eye. But then maybe in 2 weeks' time, you think, I remember I saw that somebody sent me something, but you've deleted it, because otherwise your inbox gets so full. And how do you store all of that information? And maybe that's another industry one can look at, is how do you store digital information to try and find, the sanitizers or the masks, whatever. I'm just using a simple example. But I tend to agree with Jeffrey in a way. I went to Sun City last week, and they're one of my biggest clients, and also Dikololo, they're opening. They 100% full, and they're just all too happy to see someone, rather than just talking on the phone, because
live body,
like that picture you had where the guy's got his hand behind his back with his fingers crossed. People can lie on the phone and say, I'm busy with your order, I'm busy with that. In the meantime, they're sitting across the next supplier giving the order away. So I do believe I mean, I've always believed that face contact is the way to go. You know, people people are sociable. They want to see faces. They want to be involved they want you to come see what is going on. And I still believe it's the way, you know, as much as digital is the, you know,
Yeah, we know.
platform maybe to use.
With our website, if we get cut off, by the way, we're having lockdown at 4 o'clock here. Not lockdown. What's it called again?
Load shedding.
Load shedding.
In the early days of Hotelstuff, if we sat with somebody and explained, they would take a subscription straight away. But trying to do it with emails and letters and phone calls and stuff, they do, but it just takes so much longer. It's nice for ordering. I'm a block away from Thrups, I tell you, that's fatal. So I just pick up the phone and I get all these wonderful things delivered to my flat.
I think once your product is known and it's a regular product that they would like to order, then yes, your online purchasing would be great. But to introduce that product and keep it going, I think you need a face-to-face, especially with foodstuffs. Whether it's chocolate, they want to feel it, they want to taste it, they want to understand how it's made, you know. And I do believe, I mean, these Zoom meetings are great. I mean, you're sitting across the desk from me, you know, with various other people, and I've been involved with a lot of Zoom meetings and bounce things off, and they're fantastic. But you can't sell a product on Zoom. You can tell them about it, but at the end of the day, they want to touch it and feel it.
They do, yeah. And lockdowns just reminded us how important people are, you know. And even for little kids, I've got a 2-year-old grandson. He's miserable because he's not with his little mates, you know, and you don't realize how badly it impacts them. Yeah, we've learned
But, you know, it's baby steps. We take a day at a time, a week at a time, a month at a time. We're really struggling, I must say. You know, I've lost 8 people out of about 11. Yeah, so well, there's 3 of us left here in Joburg, 1 in Cape Town, and you know, the expenses are just so great. The margins are down because, you know what, I'm going to fight you for 1% because I'd rather have 10% of something or 100% of nothing. So now the suppliers are going for every job they can, and they're discounting just to try and move product. You know, maybe to be there and say, look, I'm there. I also find that loyalty went out the window many years ago. You can bend over backwards for a client today, and if you're 5 Rand out tomorrow, they'll go to the next guy, you know, that they've never dealt with before. So I'm hoping some of that's going to come back, you know, the old school where there is loyal, and you don't think, sometimes things go out.
Gets in, none of it will come back.
Yeah.
I'm
So that's
addicted
what
to
I find. You what?
Trump. All my negative energy. Put it, you know, watch CNN and I'll throw it at Trump. Yeah, this, you know, I think even a year from now, we are not going to recognize who we are, where we've been, what we've been through, the changes that we're going to see. And, you know, the altruism in the beginning, in the early days, people were saying we must try and persevere. Yeah, well, my son's warning me we're going to lose our lights. They were saying, you know, after the war, people were so good working together. And when the Italians were on their balcony singing songs, and it was really, that's fading. You know, look how the Germans are marching, you know, look at the bloody riots in America. That support in the early days of lockdown, it's human nature disappoints me. I really thought it would persevere. Yeah.
I agree.
And then how do you get rid of it? You know, Adam's got a lot of food just going off. It's going bad. How do you tell people about it? How do you sit on the phone to hospitals and SPCA and stuff and say, you know?
Are you talking about Adam?
Yeah, no, I mean Mike.
Okay. Well, look, it's specific. We do batch cooking from Freddie Hirsch, which you need conferencing. You need, you know, large number of people to feed. We're trying the hospitals and the correctional services, but regretfully, and this is another thing I've learned, and it's not a racist comment. It is that I'm the wrong color. I've found that out in lockdown now. I got into the PPE game, and we had some real good products. I imported thermometers. I did a lot of the stuff myself, went to the military, went to government, and, you know, the writing's on the wall. They don't give you the time of day. So, you know, that's another challenge on our side, and so much so that I've now created a company in Northwest, which is 51% black owned, and that's the only way I'm going to get into any correctional service or military facility or anything that's government controlled. And even Sun City, you know, they're saying they want anything level 3 less. A lot of the tenders that I do,
South Africa.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, Mike, why do you persevere in South Africa? Why don't you go to Jill's country? They'd love to see you. It's a wonderful country.
It's a wonderful country.
Jeffrey,
no,
you
there's
know,
no color. They don't look at you.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Unfortunately, I've got a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old at this stage. You know, COVID is a hindsight science. 2 years ago, I was looking at getting out the country, and I thought, you know what, I don't really want, because it is such a nice country. And now COVID hit us, and I'm in the red, just trying to survive. And if I'd known 2 years ago what was happening, you know, not because of COVID, if COVID would have happened anyway, if I'd known what the government was going to do during this COVID time, and I think I blame them for putting South Africans in the predicament they are, because nowhere in the world was it as hard hit as South Africa. And I agree with you. You go over the border to Zambia. I've been to Uganda. You know, I've got friends that do business in Congo, and there is no color differentiation. It is what it is. You know, we stuck with this apartheid thing, and I don't want to get into politics at all, but it is a factor of life here in South Africa. It is a factor of life that we need to worry about. You know, the whites, they're not. I don't feel welcome in this country anymore, and I'm going to build my business now. I've already opened one in Australia. If I go to Australia, I go to Australia, but I don't feel welcome here. And as much as you feel positive and fighting on a daily basis, you're not fighting only for business. You are fighting for business that belongs to a different color. And that's a dual, that's double fighting on a daily basis. And that's
why go to Australia? Why go to Australia? Australia, they've got everything. Why don't you go to the places where they need you most?
They need something,
Africa needs you most. We're Africans. Stay in Africa.
I agree with Jeffrey.
Yeah, Mike, you know,
It's boring, man. It's so boring. You drive slowly. You don't overtake anybody.
Oh, the rules.
yeah. Mike, can I just come in there? You know, we are a small company run from home, and we have exactly, I'm telling you now, we're a level BBB, level 1 business, and we have exactly the same situation that Mike has. Even though I'm a colored person originally from Johannesburg, moved down to Cape Town with a company many years ago, and then started our own business, we still have those challenges where we cannot, as a colored person, walk into municipality and say, I need a tender, it's come out, I need to fill it out. They tell you straight